you don't have to grow. You don't have to take the tool belt off. There's ways that you can survive and that you can make a good living without doing that. We just think that we have to. Welcome back, everyone, to Midweek Modern Craftsman. Hope you all are having a wonderful week. Mine is busy. It's a short week for me, but I'm getting a lot done. I've been thinking a lot lately about what it means to be, I've referred to myself as a belt-on contractor. And lately, I've been thinking a lot that I may be closer to a self-performer as well. And that term has just stuck with me, and it's been in my head recently. A lot of people shy away from self-performing. They feel that they've grown to the point where they can't self-perform, or they want to subcontract more work, and that's the definition of success for them, where they get to a point where they have enough work where they don't need to self-perform all of it and they could start subcontracting. And I've tried that and I've done that. And there's still certain trades that I subcontract, specialty trades that I don't have the manpower to do, or the licensing or the insurance to do. But I like to self-perform as many trades as possible. For me, it's always, I enjoy the hands-on aspect of the project. It's been part of my identity. It's how I stay connected so closely to my clients, to the craft. It does come with trade-offs. I can't be everywhere at once. I, at times, have trouble getting into the office to maintain the business side of things. I have to wear a tool belt. I have to manage people who are working on the job. I have to schedule. I have to do material acquisition. So it's definitely challenging, but I really enjoy being able to have my hands in every aspect of the work. So I want to talk a little bit about what it means to be a self-performer, pride that comes along with that, the pressure that comes along with that, and the balance between growth for myself, growth for my business, and also craftsmanship. So my current job is really what got me thinking about this mostly. So it is a screened-in porch addition. There was 30 tons of concrete buried in the back. There were steps back there. There was slabs back there. So I removed all of that, did all the demolition, recycled all the concrete, and then we shot and did rough grade in the backyard area. So that was in preparation for a mason who we're going to bring in to do the flat work for the concrete work. I don't do the concrete work. That's something I'll do a pad here and then I'll do footings and stuff like that, but I'm not doing 500-600 feet of flat work. I just don't have the skill set. The risks are too high for me to learn to do that. I just anxiety. I don't want to do it. So I'm going to subcontract that out. But we did everything from demolition of that. We dug the footings, which are bigger footings than typically I'm doing for decks, which would either be piles or sonotubes. So these were a spread footing with a sonotube on top of that. So it was excavating 6 larger holes, getting the spread footing in, compacting it, gravel, pouring the backfilling, pouring the concrete. So there was a lot of work in just layout. There was a lot of work in grading. The grade in the backyard wasn't great. We are looking to set our concrete sub or our mason up for success. So we had a bunch of grading to do. I had my mini on the job. Used that from everything from demolition to digging to grading to the footings to backfilling. We brought some stone in. Probably have to bring a little bit of topsoil in, but this job has really got me thinking how much I'm self-performing on it. And I self-perform a lot on a lot of jobs, but this is going to be grade work, demolition, grade work. We ended up doing some drainage, tying the downspouts into pop-up emitters in the backyard, re-roughing their sump pump. And I was just doing all of these trades. I was juggling things and I was really enjoying it. And it got me thinking how much I enjoy being a self-performer. Yeah, I'm a belt-on contractor, but how much I enjoy being a self-performer and why. And I feel that so many people, and myself included, for years tried to get to the point where I could subcontract more work out. And there's certain trades that I subcontract. There's specialty trades I subcontract. There's trades that I don't have the licensing or the insurance for. There's trades that I just don't have the specialty tools, and it doesn't make sense for me to invest in them. Hardwood floor refinishing or finishing, plumbing, electrical, concrete work, roofing, siding, stuff where I don't have the manpower to do. So for this job, we We had demolition of all the concrete work. We had grading work. We had digging, preparing all the footings, pouring all the concrete for the footings, backfill, bringing in stone, getting subgrade. We're going to bring in a little bit more fill, and then we started framing today. So we got all the posts set. We started the deck frame, actually pretty much finished the deck frame, all the beams, flush beams. And tomorrow we're going to be buttoning up some framing on the lower half, and then we're going to start framing the roof. I'm not going to actually tie into the existing roof yet, because I'm going away for a couple days, and I don't want to tie into that roof and put holes in it until I'm back and I can get it dried in and get the roofer there right away. But we can start framing everything else out. And I'm going to be doing the trim on this. We're going to be doing the screened in porch system. So there's just a ton of work. We're replacing a big patio door on the back. So there's a ton of work here, and just how much I need to know, the pace that comes along with it, getting my hands into all these different trades. It's really, really enjoyable for me. And yeah, there's certain aspects of it and learning curve and stress and anxiety that comes along with it. But I really enjoy being able to handle all those aspects of the work. For years, I did try and get to the point where I could subcontract more work out, right? This is typically something where I'd probably subcontract this frame out and then come back when they're done. But does that make sense to me? Why pull off the job for a week to get somebody to frame it, to pay somebody to frame it, when I could do it? I understand what the finishes are going to look like. I understand what the blocking needs to look like. And there's a certain part of me that enjoys doing that and enjoys the different trades and just being a craftsman and being able to work with my hands and understanding how a building comes together, how the structure comes together, how we're going to tie the roof. And it's not something I do all the time, but having the opportunity to do that and relearn a lot of what I've taught myself in the past, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when I'm slightly more mature, I'm slightly more confident, I'm not as anxious in life and in business, and it makes it a much more enjoyable process for me. I also feel that it really diversifies my skill set and makes me a more well-rounded carpenter, contractor, business owner, self-performer. But there's all the pros that I can discuss about self-performing, and it really is gratifying for me. It is something that I really enjoy doing, but there's certain downsides to it. There's times where I make a mistake and I have guys there, and I can't just stop what I'm doing and say, hey, everyone, let's come fix this mistake. We have to keep moving forward. And then at the end of the day, I have to figure out how I'm going to fix this mistake, how it's not going to cost my client money, how it's not going to cost me money, how we can keep moving forward and keep the job moving ahead. So I have a lot going on. I have the business end of things. I have the podcast end of things. I have family. I'm still self-performing a lot of work. So there's times where it can be overwhelming to stay ahead of it, to ensure that we have all the materials that we needed for the job, that I understand the design. So when we go to do something, I have everything there and ready and figured out so that I can keep people busy, that I'm not wasting clients' money. I'm not putting work in place that's not equitable work for my clients or myself. I have to make sure that I can keep the job running. And it's not as though I'm just in the office. It's not as though I'm project manager. It's not as though I'm just putting jobs together. I'm actually doing the work as well. So there's times where I get done work, and in order to keep things moving, I got to stop somewhere on the way home. I got to get up early and I got to go do work before the job. Yes, a lot of times I'm charging for this. Most of the time I'm charging for this, unless it's a screw up on my behalf, but that's just part of it. And so, yeah, maybe I'm working more hours in a day. I'm getting paid for it, but there's times where I don't want to do that. And there's times where I have deadlines where I really don't have any chance or options other than going and working a little bit more to get jobs done. The big difference now, I'm getting paid for that, which is really nice, but there's still times where I don't want to make another stop on the way home. I just want to go home, or I just want to get to a game of my kids, or I just want the work day to be done. So I can't be in two places at once, right? I can't meet with a client on one job. I can't have another job going on and have my current job going on. When that happens, I feel mistakes are made. I can't keep ahead of the people on the job. There's too many things in different places, and quality goes out the window. So being a self performer, it's very difficult to run multiple jobs. It's a tough model to scale because of those reasons, because there's only one of you, because managing multiple projects, not only on the job, but in the office can be difficult. If you don't understand your numbers on one job, now you do 2x the amount of work, 3x the amount of work, you're probably just exacerbating issues that you have. So, how do you scale that business? Maybe it's not scaling it in the sense of, hey, I need to do 3x the volume. Maybe it's different type of jobs. Maybe it's jobs where you have higher profit margins. Maybe it's jobs with tasks that make you more money or that you can differentiate yourself to be able to charge a little bit more. And now you're not necessarily putting a ton more volume in place. You're just putting higher profit, work with a higher profitability in place. I also have to juggle being an owner of the business and my back end management with my field time and what my clients are paying for that. And does it make sense for me to be performing certain aspects of the job when I can get somebody to do it for half the price? Is that work? What am I doing with that work? What's the quality level that I'm executing to ensure that my clients aren't just paying money to have me there, and it's the same thing as somebody else can do for 50% less? So I have to consider that. I have to do right by my clients. I have to be stewards for them, their projects, their work, and I have to make sure that I'm being a good business owner. I'm being a good advocate for them, that I'm really just doing all the right things. So with what I'm doing, obviously I have the podcast, I have my family, I have the consulting, I have the Contractors Coalition Summit, I have social media partnerships, I work with Fine Home Building, I work with Anderson Windows. There's a ton of things that I do outside of just swinging a hammer. So I have to be able to balance that. So self-performing really makes a ton of sense for me as long as I can schedule the jobs accordingly. If I go and travel for work, I'm at the point now where my clients understand I might not be here for 2 or 3 days, but I'm not going to have people here that I can't manage. If there's people here that are qualified and I can set them up, yeah, the job will keep moving forward. But if not, I might try and get more done that week early in the week. Like, I'm going away the end of this week. So I'm going to work long days for the next couple of days to get to a point where, yeah, I got a week's worth of work in, or I got my normal 4 days worth of work that I got in a week, so that I'm not just not showing up for the job. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to say, hey, I can't be here. I'll just hire people. They'll come in. I won't manage them. I'll have them do the project, and then I'm going to go do something else. Excuse me. To me, that's not what I stand for. That's not the type of business that I operate, and that's not what my clients are paying for. So that's not something that I'm going to do. Another challenge that I find is when I am on the job and I am self-performing, I don't have the luxury to step back and spend the time teaching somebody every single thing that I'm doing. I have to set them up with tasks that they can do repeatedly, that they can do on their own or with somebody else, and that I can continue to do the work that I need to, that makes the money, that keeps the production and the productivity in place. So I have to understand how to balance my time, people who are working for me, subcontractors. I'm sorry, there's a fly. I feel like it's the Breaking Bad episode. There's this fly like buzzing around my camera and my face right now. Training employees, it becomes difficult for me, right? I don't have the most time in the world during the day to step back and teach somebody how to do more of the difficult aspects of the project that I'm doing. I'm going to be giving them tasks that they can repeat over and over again. More than likely, I'm setting them up for success. I don't want them to fail. I don't want them to be making mistakes. And then I'm going to do the thinking work. Once I get the thinking work done, I'm going to find a way to put that system in place so that somebody else can do it. So that's how I manage my self-performance. That's how I can keep ahead of the people who are helping me. And that's how I can maintain the level of quality that I need. But I do have to balance that with everything else that I have going on personally, professionally, on the social end of things, with the business, just the business, the back end, the budgeting, the billing, the invoicing, the material acquisition, the takeoffs, everything else. There's a lot. But that's part of being a self-performer. And that is what I feel differentiates me than somebody who's going to come in and say, I'll do layout, I'll have somebody dig this, I'll have somebody do the footings, get the footing inspection, and then I'll come back and see that they pour it. And then I'll set them up to frame, but then I'm not going to be back until they're done framing. And then I'll have the trim guys come in and start doing the decking and the trimming. I'll have the roofer do the roof, right? That's not who I am. That's not what I want to do. And that's not what I enjoy. I do enjoy working with my hands, and I do want to keep my mind sharp. I do want to be as dynamic as I can as a carpenter, as a business owner. And that's why I enjoy self-performing. I like to be able to step back and say, hey, we did everything almost frame to finish on this job. And I think that that is a dying art. I don't think that a lot of people want to be doing that. I don't think a lot of people realistically find it easy to make money doing that. I've always found it easier for me to manage my overhead, to manage my exposure, to manage my risk, and charge appropriately. That structure, that system, that setup always has been more profitable for me than doing 2x work and kind of being belt on and kind of managing people and having 2, 1.5, 3 jobs going at a time. To me, that always cost me more money because I wasn't able to execute the jobs well and I wasn't able to manage them well. I was somewhere in between. So for me, the sweet spot is just being able to execute and manage the jobs well. That's obviously going to be a lower production setting. So I have to ensure that I'm doing less work, that I'm charging, and I'm capturing all of my hours for that type of work. So scaling my business is much different than what most people would probably consider scaling their business. And I kind of went down that path. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be doing bigger jobs. I wanted to just put people in place to do all of these things. And I realized that that made me very unhappy when I had to keep food on the table for people, when I had to keep everything running, when I had to shoot everything and kill everything in order to feed everyone. It was really, really tough for me. And I don't think that I did great in that setting. I don't think that I was a great business owner. I don't think that my work was the best it could be. And I don't think I was a good husband, a good father, a good friend. So I want to ensure that I'm the best version of myself. And that's when I am, like on this project, I'm doing layout, I'm doing demolition, I'm doing framing, I'm doing concrete work, I'm picking this stuff up, I'm juggling trailers. I don't know, it just keeps me engaged. Maybe it's the romantic side of me, but it just feels as I'm a tradesperson. It feels as though I'm working with my hands. It feels as though I'm a craftsman. It just seems like I'm I'm an old soul in this world and in this industry. And I really, to me, there's something really cool about that. And I don't want to be the type of business that I just subcontract all my work out, that I'm somewhat of a paper contractor. And there's nothing against that. That's just not what I want. I don't want to just be a management company. I don't just want to have PMs and supers. I like being able to execute and fulfill these projects. And those are the type of projects that I want to be doing. And for years, I didn't want to do bigger projects because there were a lot of aspects of them that I would have to self-perform. And I was uncomfortable subcontracting all of that work out. I also probably didn't have the confidence to self-perform all of that work. And I'm at the point in my life where, yeah, I'm confident enough to do it. Maybe I screw something up. Maybe I fix it. Maybe I learn a better way. Maybe I'm not the most efficient at every single thing that I do, but I'm going to do it well and I'm going to do it right. And there is a lot of efficiency that I create by being on the job and not bouncing around from job to jobs, not having to set up every couple of days, just being planted on a job and executing a job. There's something really to be said for that. And that is why I prefer to self-perform. That's why I enjoy self-performing. And that's why I tried to scale and I found out it wasn't really for me, scaling from a volume perspective and putting people in place and managing more than one job at a time. And I've really found a sweet spot here that I'm getting to enjoy working with my hands every day. I'm getting to enjoy being out in the field. I'm enjoying keeping my mind and my skill set tight. I'm enjoying figuring things out and learning and evolving and getting better and getting more proficient and efficient, and just being on the tools has been really enjoyable for me and really fun for me. And yeah, that's why I've been thinking a lot about the consulting that I do, and I've been thinking a lot about the conversations that I have. I was just up at the Fine Home Building Summit, and the conversations I was having with people were more about craft. It was more about being a good steward for this industry and less about building performance and high efficiency and R values and wall details and assemblies. And it was just more about really brass tacks of construction, remodeling, renovations, and just being a craftsman. And I don't want to lose sight of that. I think that that's what's going to attract a lot of people into this industry, and I really want to hang on to that, and I want to promote that as much as possible. And I realize that that's what I'm standing for. And it's built on contractors and it's small contractors. And my new kick is just being a self-performer and self-performing so many trades, and really being proud of that and not running away from that and not shying from that, and flying that flag saying, I'm almost 40 years old. I'm choosing to be a self-performer. I'm choosing to do this work with my hands, and I'm really having fun and making money and creating a great life for me and my family doing that. And I hope that I can motivate some of you all who are listening to do the same, right? You don't have to chase what you see everyone doing. You don't need to be doing 5 million, 10 million, $20 million worth of work. You can make a really good living for yourself and be really happy. And if you want to be a self-performer, you can find a path that works by being a self-performer and still getting to have your hands in all of those tasks and make good money. If I can help you out with that, obviously let me know. But to me, it's just, I hope that I can motivate some of you out there to reconsider what you're doing, and don't lose sight of why you got into this industry in the first place and what you love about it and working with your hands. And if you want to self-perform more, you don't have to grow. You don't have to take the tool belt off. There's ways that you can survive and that you can make a good living without doing that. We think that we have to. So if I could be of help to you with that, let me know. That's going to wrap up this week's podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm sorry, it's super late. I have a lot going on. It's a late night for me and a very short week. And I wanted to get you out something in the meantime. So just spending some time on the job by myself, running the excavator, removing concrete, running loads to the dump, getting to framing today, just thinking how cool it is that I have the opportunity to show up every day and do something different and self-perform these bigger scale jobs from frame to finish, and how that might be a lost art or a dying breed. And I hope that there are still many young men and women out there who want to get into the trades to do the same thing as I've always had dreams of doing. Hope you all have a good week. I will catch you next time.